Alright, so this is going to be kind of like, I guess, my review of Season 3, or at least what we've gotten so far as it stands right now. We still have things like the Lounge and Ultimate Luna and things like that coming, of course, but I kind of wanted to just go and give my 2 cents on what I think about the season so far, if I think it's going to hold my attention, and overall, just, I guess, how I like the new systems. So the first thing I want to talk about is the trigger module system. I'd say that these are overall, like, pretty cool. I think anything that, like, gives us diversity in our builds is a W. I am hoping that they kind of add like a lot more of these as time goes on, because it does get a little bit boring just using the same like 10 mods every single time a new character comes out. You know, you basically always do go like, you know, double cooldown range, whatever, right? The focus on whatever your element is. Like, it's pretty bare bones in terms of build diversity. So season 3 hasn't really changed that. They just added a new way to kind of make your build work. It just gives you like passive buffs and things like that. But overall, I think we're heading toward the correct direction. Eventually there will be many ways to build your character, along with the mutant cell system that we got added a while ago. Yeah, I think it's pretty good that they keep adding these systems. It's kind of like, you know, in Warframe where they added like Archon shards, the helmet system. Hopefully we get something like that in TFD where we can maybe borrow an ability from another Descendant and then slot it into one of our abilities that we don't normally use. I think that system is very, very good. Hopefully that comes to TFD one day. They're doing really well with the login bonuses, trying to incentivize people to log in and claim all their rewards. I finished all of the burning attendants. I do kind of wish that they had like a different skin in here. I feel like if you buy a skin that's universal, it should just automatically carry over to any new characters, or what's the point? But regardless, I guess it's cool that they're giving us ways to obtain it, but I still think it should be a new character comes out, you have access to all universal skins. That's just my opinion though. I feel like that is the whole point of a universal skin. You can just use it on any character you want to, but not a big deal. Still cool that we get the Twisted Worship set, and it seems like they are upping the login rewards, as well as if you just have bad luck with like Nell, they are giving you ways to kind of speed up the farm. I think, what is it, 3 or 4 boxes total they give you, and it gives you a random Nell piece. So if you get like really unlucky, but even if you did through the pity system, you would get it eventually, right? So overall, I'd say that they're doing a good job in terms of quality of life, which of course, shocker, like TFD always does really well with quality of life stuff. That does not surprise me in the least. So as long as they keep adding these power systems, making the game better, doing more quality of life, I think the game is doing really well. Now, the skins specifically, I think are really good. However, my only critique with the Nier event is I kind of wish that they would have gone a little bit harder with it, or added like Nier music soundtracks that we could like play and switch in Albion, right? Kind of like the Soma chord. Or, you know, pretty much in every other video game, you unlock music and you can kind of set it to like your base. Especially since we have the lounge coming, I assume there's going to be some sort of, or at least I hope that you can customize it and maybe add music inside of it and things like that. Feel like it was a missed opportunity there. I do feel like the Nier event is kind of lacking, especially considering we're getting sword skins and Melee isn't coming out until October. Feel like they should have just not released this collab until swords were ready and add a lot more to it, such as like a story quest or like a side event thing. It's just kind of like, here's some skins, right? I kind of wish it was a little bit more, because I love Nier Automata and I love TFD, so I think that they could have done, you know, a lot cooler stuff with the collaboration, but it is their first collab, so I'm assuming we're getting Stellar Blade, and what is it, like November, I think is the other collab. It's for sure going to be Stellar Blade, so yeah, I mean, I think pretty much everybody already knows that. We'll most likely get Eve, but regardless, the skins are really, really good. The A2 skin and the 2B skin are sick. I haven't gotten mine yet just because I had to like handle some IRL bills, so can't afford it right now, but it is what it is. I will get it before it leaves the shop. So yeah, I'll get it eventually, but really good skins. Overall, 10 out of 10 on the skins. I assume that once they disappear, they're gone forever. Maybe they'll bring it back if they ever do another collab. But yeah, so that's all the good stuff that TFD is doing. Now, I do want to talk about stuff that I think could make the game better. The first thing being that I do think that they need to like kind of hurry up and add a way to craft like multiple crystallization catalysts. As it stands, you can still craft one. Now, they did say in a dev stream that they had some other plans to kind of give players a way to craft through other means. I don't know what that means. I think that they should up this. The reason I say that is because I have like my friend who hasn't played it in like 10 months. You know, he logged in, he played at launch, he logged in, and this is kind of like the reason that he's not playing as much is because he's just permanently out of catalyst and he can't really build anything, which, you know, we all went through that. You have to put time in the game if you do want to build stuff, but I just think it would be a good quality of life, especially for newer players, to be able to craft like 2 or 3 of these at a time. Granted, in TFD, crystallization catalysts are 8 hours, whereas in Warframe it is 24 hours. So like the crystallization catalysts are definitely better in terms of research time, and with the buff going on, it's like 6 hours, right? So not that bad if you have the materials, but I still think that upping this just for a little quality of life for newer players that maybe don't have that many wouldn't be a bad idea. It kind of keeps players a little bit more invested, especially newer players, because they actually have stuff to play around with and things like that, like, you know, they can test things, etc. So that's just one small thing, and I think the devs are aware. As I said, they've already kind of told the player base that they kind of have other, you know, methods of getting them or whatever, which, you know, they have, like through the boost up event, they gave you a lot of catalysts, as well as just events in general, they give them out, as well as ETA 0. So there is a lot of ways to currently like obtain them. So I'm not saying there's not ways to get them. I'm just saying maybe up it to like 2 or 3 that you can craft at a time. Maybe that would be too OP, but I don't know, man. I don't see how it could hurt the game. Like, yeah, it might hurt playtime a little bit, but I think it'll like keep new players like more engaged if they're able to build their stuff, right? That is just my 2 cents on it. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual content, which is Axian Plains. So in terms of a new map, this is obviously the best update that we've gotten. It is the biggest, right? So I would say that overall it is a good update, at least by like TFD standards, right? Now, one thing I do want to kind of touch on is the area does feel empty. I do hope that in future updates we kind of get like stuff that's filled out a little bit more. So what do I mean by this? So like, for example, let's say you zone into Axian, and I feel like there should be vendors like spread out throughout the map that you have to turn in a certain material that levels up your rank, and then it unlocks like goodies from a shop or something, right? If you've played other games, you're probably gonna know what I'm talking about, but basically it's like a reputation grind, because Wall Crasher is cool, the missions are like cool, right? But it's kind of just like a little bare bones. I'm not saying it's bad. I have enjoyed Axian. I'm just saying that I think there definitely could be more like just filled in here. We do have like the races on the hover bikes and stuff like that, so that is like a W for people who like those kinds of things, right? It is kind of cool to just hop on your hover bike, kind of ride around, right? But I do think there need to be more systems in place, especially like vendors put into this area, kind of like have multiple grinds within this, because as it stands right now, it's just kind of like, you know, you zone into Axian, you run the same like 8 missions, you unlock Nell and the 2 hover bikes, and then you're pretty much done, right? You maybe fight Wall Crasher like a few times, or however many times you want. In terms of Colossuses, it is cool that they're like just roaming randomly. However, I haven't noticed that they drop anything like good. It's just exactly what like the base Colossus drops in the boss fights, which is kind of disappointing. Maybe I'm just unlucky. I don't know if somebody can fill me in on if they drop other loot besides just what they normally drop, but you basically just fight them and they drop the normal loot and you just don't get to crack a relic. So it's like, I don't see why anyone would engage in that system. I mean, unless just for fun, right? But I feel like they could definitely add some more like rewards locked behind those Colossuses, like, you know, oh, the Colossuses in Axian are like giga buff, buffed, and if you beat them, they drop unique loot, right? Like, there's a lot of things the dev could do to make like this area feel a lot better, and as it stands, I just feel like it's kind of empty and there's not too much to do in this area. That's just me being honest. Now I'm not saying it's bad. I like the area. I like that we have a boss that spawns every hour. I like the roaming colossuses. It's cool. I like the hover bike. I like all that stuff. I'm just saying I think they should, there needs to be more added here. There's not enough going on, in my opinion. You could also add, as I was saying, reputation vendors to other areas, like, you know, Fortress, Sterile Land, Kingston, stuff like that. Like, each area has a vendor, and you go zone back into them, and you grind to get, like, I don't know, reputation 5, reputation 10. You can only earn, like, a specific amount of reputation each day. It gives you kind of, like, more daily things to do and a reason to kind of go back to these areas instead of just like, okay, they released a new area, let me go zone in that area, right? And then we do that for like 3 to 4 months before the next update, right? So that's kind of like where I'm coming from. I just feel like the content can be broadened quite a bit. I do like what they're doing here. You know, TFD is a year old, so I don't expect them to just like, you know what I'm saying, just have 500 different systems in the game comparatively to other games that have been out for like 15 years, right? I'm not expecting that. I think that would be unreasonable, but I am expecting them to kind of step up their game in terms of content. While it's cool that we did get a new area and a new map, I don't see this kind of holding player retention for more than, you know, like a month or something, maybe a couple months if like somebody just really likes the grind, right? I feel like we need to have reasons to like want to come back to this area after we get the thing that we want from it, right? It's the same thing in World of Warcraft, same thing in Warframe. Like, you keep going back to these areas that you've already beaten because there's other stuff in there that you need to do, such as vendors, quests, reputation grinds, stuff like that. I think TFD would benefit greatly from having these things. And as I said, the area is just super empty. Yeah, I just think they need to add a lot more stuff. It's like we have this cool hover bike and we just have like just all this empty space with just like nothing to do in it except just like start the mission, and then you have like, you know, a little bit of enemies, but it's like these guys aren't, you know, dropping much. You know what I mean? Like, there's not an incentive to really like, you know, do much with these guys. Like, I don't know, I feel like we need to have more cool stuff going on. That's kind of my point. It's just kind of empty. I'm hoping as time goes on they just kind of add more and more stuff to where it doesn't just feel so like one-dimensional in terms of what we can do in the new area. But all of that being said, as I said, I think this is the best update that we've gotten in terms of like content and just like new systems, right? With the hover bike and trigger cell system, I'd still give it like a good 7-8 out of 10. I just would like to see a season release that's a 10 out of 10. We haven't gotten the rest of the season, so obviously they could add stuff, you know, as time goes on. I know we're getting Ultimate Luna, the lounge, some more dungeons, weapons, stuff like that. But I would like to see them branch out a little bit from just like, here's a new area, go zone in this area and do this area for 3 months, you know, adding some new game modes, kind of like with the racing thing, right? That's kind of like a new mini game mode, you know, add like a endless horde mission, add a roguelike, you know what I'm saying? Like, add a zombies type of mode where it's just like you start with a pistol, and it drops all these good rewards, right? I feel like there needs to be more things to do in TFD than just like, here's a new area, go spam that area, get what you want out of the area, and then you're done, right? Like, that's kind of my whole point. But all that being said, I do think it's a good update. I do think I will be playing it for probably, I'd say, another, I don't know, a few weeks or something. I mean, PoE 2 is coming out, so I'm for sure hopping on that. But honestly, I've unlocked Nell. I have both the hover bikes. So there's, you know, basically I can go, you know, fight a wall crasher or build up some characters that I haven't really built up yet, right? So those are pretty much my options, which is cool. As I said, like, I always have fun when I hop on TFD and I'm just like, ooh, I want to go do this stuff, right? Like, there's always going to be like something I can do. I just, you know, I want what's best for the game, man. I'd like to see more added, and I don't think just like putting terrain here with just a bunch of empty space is like that exciting, right? Putting wall crasher there is like super cool, and all the other stuff is cool, but yeah, I don't know, man. It'll get better as time goes on, I'm sure. I did give the devs my feedback. Hopefully a lot of other people did. Constructive feedback. I think that's how the game is going to get better and the quality is going to get better. As I said, bro, like, the devs are always good with quality of life. They're always good with characters. They're always good with all of this other stuff. But I always feel like the content itself with the end-game grind, like, that's something they really struggle with, and they seem to be sticking to the same formula of just new area, new descendant, new weapon, new boss. And while that is fun for a little bit, it's just not going to be engaging for like 2 to 3 months. So I don't know. I am looking forward to the lounge. I definitely want to see what that's all about. And we'll see like what the new dungeons got going on and stuff like that. So yeah, man. I mean, I'm gonna keep playing TFT. And hopefully the season releases like get better and better as time goes on, but those are just kind of like my, I guess, criticisms of it. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just, you know, that's how the game gets better, right? You kind of say what you think could be better about the game, you give the feedback to the devs, and then see what they can do with it, right? So this isn't like me hating on TFT. I've really enjoyed season 3. I really enjoy playing Nell. I think we got a lot of cool stuff. But you know, I just want the game to keep getting better and better and be the best that it can, right? So anyways, that's gonna be my 2 cents. Appreciate you guys if you've watched to the end of the video. I'm SamuxPlays, and I will see you guys in Albion. Y'all take care.